Isabelle. I'm here to teach you some Syntonics, also known as thinking body, as each Syntonics teacher does it his own way. Okay, so where does this work come from? First of all, the foundation of the work is Syntonics that was created by Judith Koltaï. And she learned it from Thérèse Bertherat in France, who invented anti-gymnastique. Another strand of lineage is Françoise Mézières' work, which is postural reconstruction. There is also Charlotte Selver's work from sensory awareness. And deeper down or further back in the lineage, there's Elsa Gindler, who was in Berlin. If you're interested in this work and knowing more, you could either go on the internet, do research, or you could look at these books. So I'm going to show you a few books. We've got Thérèse Bertherat, Irene Fred, who was a student of Elsa Gindler, so la gymnastique holistic gymnastics. You know, all these translations are a little approximate. You've noticed that I'm French, and sometimes I say stuff funny, so please laugh. We're not here to be serious. We're here to feel. This is another one that's really important to me, The Thinking Body by Mabel Todd Ellsworth. For this first class, I'm going to speak a bit more than usual. Next classes, we will just dive into the work right away. So what is this work? What are we going to do in these 5 classes that I'm going to lead you through? We are going to pay attention to what we're sensing, what we're feeling, so that we can notice what we're doing. Because a lot of the time we assume that it's happening to us, something's happening to us, but we're actually doing something to make it happen. For example, right now I'm a little nervous, so I'm talking a little faster and I'm holding my breath. So if I just let go of my midriff right here, let go of my breath, you can see I'm already calmer and my eyes are more focused. Okay, so it's just an example of how we work in this class. This work is very rebalancing for the nervous system, so I'm going to lead you through what we call test positions. So you're at the same time looking at what you're doing and assessing in some way through your feelings what you're doing. It gives you agency on noticing what you're doing and actually making another choice if you want to. So we can have a few props in this class or not. It is whatever you have at home. I use a mat sometimes because we're going to do some floor work, and I have a little towel ready to go because we might need to put it underneath our head. And that's about what we need for now. If we need anything else, I'll let you know top of the class. I'd like to introduce you to my friend Skelly now. He's right there. He's always with me. His presence is very reassuring. It's also very informative because I can touch and I can show you where the bone is, and you can look and you can touch where your bone is. Okay, so we're going to get acquainted, reacquainted with our skeleton, our wonderful skeleton, who can give us so much information about ourselves. A few principles about this work. It's not about achieving. It's about sensing or feeling, about discovering or rediscovering, and about coordinating. So at some point you might be distraught about the amount of information I'm giving you and what I'm asking you to do. Just let that be. It happens that sometimes we get flustered about this work because it's very different. It functions on a very different modality. Just be patient and just do your best, okay? The classes, I'm going to teach you 5 classes. You can do 1, and if you like it, you can keep going. You could do it in sequence, so I'm building the class in sequence, but you could do it out of sequence if that's what you want to do. Okay? Ready? Let's begin. So we're going to start with something very foundational and very simple. We're just going to stand. And since we're using our eyes so much every day, and especially right now where we're so solicited by the screen and all the screens that we have to look at to work, to connect, we're just going to close our eyes and just stand for a minute and just notice how you're standing. So I'm going to open my eyes and close them depending on what I need to do, I recommend that you choose either closing your eyes or keeping them open. Okay, so make that choice now. Sometimes closing your eyes will help you feel more specifically what's happening in your body, because there's lots of visual information when my eyes are open. And just sense where you are on your feet. And anything about your standing, your posture, please don't try to correct yourself. We're not in correction mode, we're just in noticing mode. You can adjust, that said. So if you feel you're making an effort somewhere in your body that you don't want to make at this point, you could stop doing that. So I just noticed, for example, that I was holding my breath again, and I'm going to stop holding it and breathe a bit more freely and naturally. So you can hear in my voice that I'm calmer as well. And I noticed that I was holding myself with my shoulders, so I can let that go. And so notice how you're stacked over your feet. Where's your skeleton? Where are your knees in relationship to your feet? Where's your pelvis? And what's the relationship between your pelvis, your hips, and your shoulders? Any detail that comes to you is of interest. And you could also pay attention to your breathing and your face, your head, your neck. Are you pulling your head down or your chin down? Could you let that go? Just let your head pop up. Just a little bit. Let the sun or the light come to your face or land on your face and welcome it. So notice now whether you're more forward on your feet or more towards the back of your feet, so your heels, that would be in English. And you can play with that a bit. So move a bit more forward, move a bit more towards your heels and forward. So you get into a little sway. And if you can, let some momentum happen here without going too far, either forward or backwards. Because remember, it's not about ambition, it's not about achieving. It's about rediscovering these subtle sensations or informations that you're getting from your own body. Let yourself sway a little bit. And then could you let this resolve? And instead of stopping the movement, could you just let it come to a resolution where you would say that you found the middle of your feet? And if at any point you're starting to feel dizzy, always open your eyes, look to the horizon, because this could be a little unsettling, or it could move something into your organism, and you would need to feel a bit more secure or have more of a sensation of being grounded. So you might have found a new place to stand. Could you check in with your glutes? Because I'm just noticing that I was clenching my glutes. So unclench your glutes if that's what you're doing. And notice how your neck is. Is your neck long? Mm-hmm. And is there anything different from when you started standing? I feel taller. So you could notice to yourself what the information that's coming to you. You could also write it after. That's of interest, because everything we're doing is about bringing to your awareness, to your consciousness, what is happening in your body. And often there's so much noise in our brains, and that we can't hear this information or we can't perceive it. So we're just spending time perceiving. Pretty simple, eh? At this point, we've been standing for a while. I'm going to ask you to feel, even look at your feet and place them in a very wide stance, so wider than your hips. And your feet would need to be parallel. Now this is the tricky part, because what I think is parallel might be relating to my habit. So if I place my feet parallel, yeah, I might need to look at them. And I'll give you a few cues on how to do that. So your heel would be aligned with your second toe. And we're going to go a bit further than that. We're going to turn out our knees so that they are also aligned with the second toe. So there's one thing that could help in doing this and to allow. So a lot of the work we're doing is about allowing. So I'm noticing what I'm doing, and I'm trying to do something new or something different. And for that to happen, I need to allow. So if I'm clenching my glutes, I will have trouble turning out my knees, especially since now I've pulled my knees back. So you want soft knees, so not bent knees, neither pulled back knees. You want soft knees, and you're going to turn your knee towards the second toe. You're going to notice what's happening in your back. So if your glutes, if you're not clenching your glutes, so you're letting your glutes be, you are turning out your knees towards your second toe. Your feet are parallel, and you turn out your knees. What happens in your lower back? And what happens in your breath? Take an instant to notice that. So you might feel that you're pulling back with your lower back. That is everyone does that pretty much. Okay, because there's a lot of, we do a lot of work with our lower back all the time. So we want to lengthen the lower back. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to step away for a second and go see Skelly if you want to come with me. So you can see this is how we're built. And I've got the possibility to touch here, these two wings. And so this is at the front of your body. That's the part at the front of your body, but you can trace it back. And I can turn Skelly. Thank you for accommodating me. So you can trace this back with your own hands, and you have the sacrum here, and the hip bone, and the sits bones right here. So you could locate the sits bones. You can just spend a minute locating everything. So in sequence, you would start at the front, feel these wings, and then move your hands back and feel the back. You could touch the sacrum down to the tailbone. That's where it is. And you've got your sits bones right here. And let's look at another component. So I'm going a little fast. You could always pause the video and spend the time you need to do this, okay? And then you have the femur and the ball of the femur that is joining or connecting with the hip bone. So this wonderful powerhouse, and this is the foundation of your torso and how you stand. So we're looking at how everything interrelates, but now we're going more into detail, okay? And we're gonna, through the classes, we're gonna try to connect all this together. So right here, so you got your pelvis, and then you have your pubic bone here. So if you would just locate it, that's great. And then you're gonna put your hands on your belly and on your lower back, so on your sacrum or your lower back. I have a microphone pack right here, so I have to use more my lower back. Don't forget about your stance. So wide stance, your knees turned out, your feet parallel, and on your out breath, you're going to rock your pelvis forward. So you might have heard this in yoga, you've heard about this in Pilates, and now we're just spending time very specifically moving this. So on your out breath, you're going to move your tailbone or your pubic bone forward, and on your in breath, you're going to let this rock back. So out breath. In breath, you let it come back, and you would ideally like this to happen progressively without the involvement of your upper torso. So I'm standing sideways right now. So I'm breathing in, and then I'm moving. So what you're doing right now, first get acquainted with this movement and put it in motion. And then move into something more of a discovery. How does this move? And what's the range that I have? So you breathe in and you breathe out. Do your best not to involve your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. So the jaw is a really important place for everything. Because there's a lot of habit of clenching the jaw or always doing something with the jaw. Same with the eyes. So a bit more, and see if you can move to the edge of this movement. So not in terms of achieving, but seeing what's the edge when I let my pelvis spring back, and what's the edge when I bring my pelvis forward. I'm noticing that I'm clenching a bit forward. I'm hunching my shoulders a bit. I could stop doing that. Notice for yourself if you feel any extra effort anywhere that you don't need to do. A few more breaths. And you could let that be. Just let your arms be at your side. And check in with yourself, your posture. Where are you at? Now that you've moved your pelvis a bit like this, you've been standing, anything that comes to you. So for me, I would say that right now I feel a bit more open in my chest. I'm speaking what I'm sensing to give you an example of what you're looking for, or what kind of information you could be receiving. But you know what you are sensing is what's important. I feel I'm standing with less effort, and I feel taller, and I feel my eyes are softer and my gaze is softer, my voice is slower, and I'm breathing more deeply. And that's our lesson for today. Thanks so much for spending time with me and doing this. Next lesson, we will be spending some time standing as well, but we will go to the floor for a different experience. You can do, just as a reminder, you can do these classes in sequence because I build them up, or you could go out of order. That is fine, and it's going to work too. Thank you. See you later.